Hey dear students, welcome back to e-learning platform of GS College of Commerce, Varda. I'm Assistant Professor Rajeshwari Sharma here, and this lecture is for the BCom second semester for the subject Business Economics. So, in this lecture, we are going to discuss the profit and losses in long run equilibrium under the perfect competition market. Okay, so in last lecture what we had seen the perfect competition market, profit and losses in the short run equilibrium. In that lecture we had seen that when we talk about the short run, so it's a period whereby all the factors of productions are not variable. But when we talk about the long run, so long run refers to period whereby all the factors of productions are variable. Okay, long run is a period whereby you can set up a plant or you can dismantle an existing one. But in short run, you cannot do so. So what is short run and what is long run? We have discussed in very detail in the last semester. I have just given you a recap of that in order to understand this concept. Okay. So when the firm under the perfectly competitive market is in short run, so it can incur the supernormal, it can earn the supernormal profit, it can earn the normal profits, it can also incur the normal losses. But when we talk about the firm under the long run equilibrium, so can a firm under the perfectly competitive market earn the supernormal profit when it comes to long run? Can it earn the normal profit when it comes to long run? Can it incur the losses in long run as well? So to have the answer of this question, we need to understand this concept. Okay, so let's begin. See, I've told you what is short run and what is long run. When we talk about the long run, so first assumption under the long run is that all the firms who will enter into the long run in a perfect competition market, they would be having the supernormal profit before entering into the long run. The second assumption under the perfect competition market in long run is that all the firms who will survive in long run in the perfect competition market will earn the normal profit. Okay, and as there is free entry and free exit is a feature of perfect competition market, so due to this feature the firms or the suppliers or the seller will enter into the perfect competition market in long run. Now the question arises, why will they enter into the market in the long run? See, there are some industries which are having high profit margin. Take the example of textile industry. When you go to the clothes shop to buy some clothes, they show you the clothes and they say that this is a pure cotton. Can you really understand whether that is the pure cotton or not? Of course not. So there are such industries where a customer is not having so much knowledge about the product. The customer cannot understand whether it is a perfect or the pure product or it is not the pure product. So in that case, the profit margin is quite high. So now take one example. There is a textile industry, and in textile industry what is happening, all the existing player in this industry is earning high profit. Okay, so when the other sellers or other suppliers would see that the players who are working in the textile industry are earning supernormal profit, so what will they do? They will also start entering into this industry. Okay, they will also start entering into this industry in order to earn the supernormal profit, in order to increase their profit. And when these other sellers will enter into this textile industry, so what will happen? Supply will increase, right? Supply will increase. When the supply will increase and the supply will increase, demand would remain stable. Okay, when the supply is increasing and demand would remain stable, so in order to sell the product, what a seller has to do? A seller has to decrease the price of the product, right? When the price of the product will decline in the market, so what will happen? The revenue will decline. Okay, the revenue will decline. Okay, and when the revenue will decline but the total cost will remain same, so what will happen? The seller who were earlier earning the supernormal profit will now come to the situation of the normal profit. For example, there is some seller who was earlier earning the revenue of 10 lakh, and now due to this situation of increasing supply, stable demand, declining price and declining revenue, his revenue is declining to rupees 9 lakh. Okay, so what will happen? When his revenue will decline and the cost will remain same, so he will come to the situation of normal profit. So here we have seen from the revenue side. Okay, now you can take other side as well. Why in long run, how the cost will affect the profits. Okay, now assume when the when after seeing the attractiveness of the market, by seeing the attractive market structure, when the other suppliers would start entering into the market, so what will happen? When the supplier will increase, okay, so the demand for input will also increase. Okay, demand for input will also increase. When the demand for input will increase, so price of input will also increase. Okay, when the price of input will increase, okay, when the price of input will increase, so the cost of production will also increase. Okay, when the cost of production will increase and the revenue will remain same, so what will happen? When the cost will increase and the revenue will remain same, so again the supernormal profit will become the normal profit due to increased cost. So this way, when in long run, when the other firm starts entering into the market, so the revenue declines or the cost rises, and in both the situation, your supernormal profit that you were earning in the short run becomes the normal profit, comes down. Okay, so this way we have seen how the how the revenue side impacts the profits in the long run, and how the cost side impact the profits in the long run. Okay, uh, for this cost side, I can give you the example. uh, there is a mobile phone industry. Okay, now just assume earlier all the manufacturers under the mobile phone industry who are manufacturing the mobile phones were earning the supernormal profit. Now what happens? Other suppliers see the industry is quite attractive because the players who are there in that industry is earning supernormal profit, so they also start entering into the industry. They can enter the industry in long run because in long run they can bring capital, they can set up the plant. Okay, so they can enter into the industry in long run, and there is free entry, so they can enter the industry. But now when the other suppliers will also enter into the smartphone industry, mobile phone industry, they will also start manufacturing the mobile phone. So what will happen? The inputs which are required to manufacture the mobile phone, for them the demand will increase. Like for display and for other parts which are required to manufacture the mobile phone, their demand will increase, and due to this the price of all these inputs will increase. And when the price of all these inputs will increase, so the cost of production will rise. Okay, and the revenue will remain same. When the revenue will remain same and the cost of production will rise, so profit will come down, and that supernormal profit they were earning earlier, now it will come down and reach to the level of normal profit. Therefore in long run, what happens? In long run, under the perfect competition market, each and every firm will earn the normal profits only. Okay, they can never earn the supernormal profits in long run, or they can never incur the losses in the uh, long run. Why they cannot incur the losses in the long run? Because those firms who are incurring losses, they will not continue their business, they will exit the market. Okay, and when they will exit the market, so the firm who are remaining have to serve the market, and that is why their market share will and the firm who are remaining in the market, they will have to serve the market, because of which all the existing firms would start earning the normal profits again. Okay, so that is why in long run, the firms under the perfectly competitive market can never incur the loss and cannot earn the supernormal profit. The firm will always have the normal profit in the long run. Okay, so now we will understand the same concept with the help of the graph. Okay, so what we have said in short run, the firm can earn the supernormal profit, they can earn the normal profit, and they can incur the loss as well. But in long run, we have taken an assumption that the firm at initial level, the firms are earning the supernormal profits. Okay, so here we are going to draw the graph of supernormal profit. So how do we get the graph of supernormal profit? For getting the graph of supernormal profit, first of all we have to draw the graph of equilibrium. Okay, so where we get the equilibrium point, the point at which the demand curve and the supply curve intersect each other. At that point we get the equilibrium price and equilibrium output. So here it's the demand curve, okay, which is sloping downward. It's the supply curve which is sloping upward, okay, and this is the equilibrium point. Here I will write, this is supply curve, this is demand curve. Supply curve is denoted by S1, demand curve is denoted by D1. Okay, at this point the demand curve and supply curve are intersecting each other. That is why this is the equilibrium price. Okay, and this is the equilibrium output, price output. Okay, now there is another feature of the perfect competition market. What is that feature? The firm is the price taker, right? Whatever price is decided by the industry, the firm has to follow it. The firm have to follow it. That is why this price will be followed by the firm as well. Okay, so it is the price line for the firm, it is the average revenue curve, it is the marginal revenue curve, and it is the demand curve of the firm as well. Okay, how do we get equilibrium? We get equilibrium when the demand curve and supply curve intersects. Okay, so in case of perfectly competitive market, for firm, marginal cost curve is equal to the demand curve. The upper side of the marginal cost curve shows the feature of the supply curve. Okay, so this has become the equilibrium point for the firm. Okay, why this has become the equilibrium point for the firm? Because at this point you can see that the marginal cost is equals to the marginal revenue, and marginal cost curve is cutting the marginal revenue curve from below. That is why it is the equilibrium point for the firm. Okay, so this EP is the equilibrium price and this EQ is the equilibrium quantity. Now in case of supernormal profit, what happens? The average total cost curve cuts the average revenue curve from below. Okay, so this is the average total cost curve. Okay, this is our average total cost curve. Okay, which is below the revenue curve, average revenue curve. It is showing that the average total cost is less than the average revenue. Like at this point it is intersecting. Okay, at this point it's showing that the cost to produce the OQ quantity is OC. We will give it a name C. Okay, OC, and the price that we are getting after selling this quantity is OP. Okay, the price that we are getting after selling this quantity is OP. So here this portion would represent, what this portion would represent? Supernormal profit, because the cost is less than the revenue. That is why this portion will represent the supernormal profit. But what we said, in long run what happens? The other firms also start entering into the market, because of which the supply increases and the demand remains stable. Okay, so in order to sell the product, what the firm has to do, the firm has to decline the price, and because of which the revenue also decreases. So now what is happening? Supply is increasing. In the law of supply we had seen, when the supply increases due to change in price, so what happens? There is going to be a movement on the supply curve only. But when the supply increases due to any other reason except the price, then the supply curve shifts the rightward. Okay, then the supply curve shifts the rightward. Okay, that we have seen in the law of supply. Here the supply is increasing Why supply is increasing? Because the another firms are entering into the market. That is why here the supply curve would shift rightward. Okay, would shift rightward. This is the supply curve. I will give it a name as 2. Okay, I will give it a name as 2. It is a new supply curve. Now here you can see that we are getting a new point of intersection. Okay, we are getting a new point of intersection. So when the other firms are entering into the market, so the equilibrium point is getting changed. Okay, when the equilibrium point is getting changed, so the equilibrium price will also get changed. So it's going to be the new equilibrium price. Okay, it's going to be the new equilibrium price, P1, new equilibrium price. And when the new equilibrium price has been set by the industry, so now what will happen? All the firms under the industry will have to follow this price, right? So when the industry firms will follow this price, see, so what's happening? This price is getting equal to the cost. Okay, now this price has come down to the level of cost only. This equilibrium price has come to the level of cost only. Here what is happening? The price and the cost is becoming equal. Earlier what was happening? For producing the OQ quantity, we were required the OC amount. Okay, and after selling this OQ quantity, we were getting the OP amount. But now the equilibrium price has been declined in the industry, because of which the price has been declined by the firm as well. So now what is happening? The cost of production is also OC and OP is becoming equal to OC. So when the average revenue is equals to average total cost, so what we get? We get the normal profit. And that is why here the in long run what's happening? The firm is arising at the situation of normal profit, and this profit will disappear. This supernormal profit that we were getting earlier, now it is getting disappeared. Okay, so this way when the revenue falls in the long run due to entry of the other firms in the market, so the firms reaches from supernormal profit to the normal profit. Now we are going to see the graph from the cost point of view. Okay, so here again what we are going to do? We are going to draw a demand and supply curve. Okay, so this is the demand curve which is sloping downward, and this is the supply curve which is sloping upward. Here it's the equilibrium point. Okay, here it's the equilibrium point. So this is going to be the cost. Okay, here when we are talking about the cost, so what we are talking about here? Here we are talking about the inputs. Okay, here we are talking about the inputs. Okay, so this is not the equilibrium price. Why it is not the equilibrium price? Because here we are talking about the inputs. Okay, and when we are talking about the input, so it will lead to the cost for the industry. So it is the equilibrium cost. Okay, which has been determined by the intersection forces of demand and supply for the input. Okay, so whatever cost has been decided by the industry, it will be followed by firm as well. At whatever price the inputs are being available to the industry, at the same prices the input would be available to firms as well, right? So this would be the cost for the firm as well. Okay, this would be the cost of the firm as well. Now what will happen? Now we have seen that it is the cost line, it is not the revenue line. Okay, it is not the price line. Now just assume the equilibrium price would stay somewhere like this. Okay, this is the price line for the firm. This is the equilibrium price for the firm. Now what is happening? When we are going to draw the ATC, average total cost curve, it is U shape. So here you can see that the cost to produce this OQ quantity is cost to produce this OQ quantity is OC. We will give it a name OC. Okay, and it is being sold at the price of OP, as it is a price line, so it is being sold at the price of OP. Okay, so this shaded portion that we can see here, it's representing the supernormal profit, right? It's representing the supernormal profit. But in long run, what will happen? In long run, what will happen? The demand, when the suppliers would enter into the market, so the demand for input will increase, right? Demand for input will increase, and when the demand for input will increase, so the price of input will also increase, and as a result, when the price will increase, so the cost of production will also increase. That is why the suppliers would come to the situation of the normal profit. Okay, so in law of demand we have discussed one thing. When the demand increases due to change in the price, due to decline in the price, so what happens? There's going to be the movement along the demand curve. But when the price is remaining constant and still the demand increases, so the demand curve shifts the rightward. So it's going to be the new demand curve. Okay, it's going to be the new demand curve. Okay, so I'm giving it a name D1. It's D. Okay, so now what we are getting? We are getting now, so when the demand increases due to any other reason except for the price, so the demand curve shifts upward. So here in this case, what you can see that this demand curve is shifting upward, rightward, and due to this we are getting a new equilibrium point. Okay, so we are getting a new equilibrium point over here. Okay, this is the equilibrium point for the cost. Here you can see that now this is the equilibrium point for the cost. Okay, and it has become equal to the equilibrium price. Earlier our cost was this, now our cost has reached this level. Okay, means the cost and the revenue has become equal. What has happened? The cost and revenue has become equal. Earlier, for producing this OQ quantity, we were requiring OC amount. Now for producing this OQ quantity, we are requiring this OP amount only. So the price and the cost has become equal due to increase in the prices of the output. Okay, so here again the average cost has become equal to average revenue. Average total cost has become equal to average revenue. So again firm has reached to the situation of the normal profits. Okay, so this way in long run, due to decline in revenue or due to increase in the cost, the firm reaches the situation of normal profit from the supernormal profit. So from this it can be proven that in long run, whatever is there, the firm will earn the normal profits only. It can never earn supernormal profit in the long run, or it can never incur losses in the long run. In long run, firm would always be in the situation of normal profit that we have understood with the examples in the graph. So guys, we are done with the perfect competition market over here. In next lecture, we are going to start with the next topic of the second unit. Till then, stay safe, stay home, keep studying, and thank you so much for staying tuned to our channel.